Hey peeps, Tyler here with the writer's self-assessment that's going viral of 14 questions. I saw it on BookFox's YouTube. I will link it in the description. Go watch the video. I'm just going to mention or read the questions. I have it written down in my journal because I went through that earlier and thought about everything. And now I'm going to share it with you all. Because I think I mentioned in the beginning of the year, like, writing goals, and yeah, I know I said I was planning on self-publishing the novel that I'm still working on. That's been pushed to next year, but I'm still working on it. So anyway, I'm going to get into the questions. Number 1, the best risk you took this past year. Well, one, I shared two short horror stories. One called Dysphoria, and the other called They're Underneath Your Skin, as well as a poem named Goddess, which I actually read that out loud on my YouTube. And and all three of them are now on, well, no, the two stories are on my Substack, AO3, and Wattpad. The poem is also on my Substack. Sharing all those, especially Dysphoria and Goddess for some reason, I don't quite know what my issue with the poem was, but especially the short story Dysphoria was really hard for me to share because it's personal. I mean, it's fictional, it's a body horror story, but like the title says it all. If you're new here, I'm a trans man. So there was that, as well as making a Substack and like videos or posts that I was worried about, because like recently, if you've seen my recent video, there was that, and I've gotten to the point where getting to the point where I'm finally having the courage to speak up. So there's that, as well as connections and starting to like reach out to people, because none of that is like easy for me at all, but I'm fucking doing it anyway. So did I take enough risks this year? What to do next year? I want to obviously write more. I want to actually finish my novel, my Project Mabon, which is a YA fantasy novel. I'm close to 60K. I'm like 59 point something. I forget what the point something is, but so I'm almost at 60K. I'm over halfway, I believe. I'm over halfway, but I believe it's also gonna probably get over 100K, or close at least, so I still have a ways to go. As well as I want to write other stuff, like more short stories, poems, as well as like essays or whatever on Substack, which some of them I may actually make into videos, but writing is easier from like than talking. That all depends on what it is. But yeah. There's also another novel I want to start, which I think should be shorter than this one, because it'll be a horror novel, but that I'm worried, that's not the right word, or maybe worried about if I can do it or not, because it's like close to me, that kind of thing, and I want to get that started because I have ideas, and I just want to get that started because it's actually inspired by like my favorite story, Frankenstein's, like a retelling. It's yeah. But that's also going to take a lot out of me, for reasons I'm not currently saying. So yeah. So basically I want to publish more stories and videos and posts without fear. Or just ignoring the fear that's there anyway. Just doing it anyway, and having courage, not being a coward anymore, so to speak. I want to read more books that I actually want to, which I've been doing great with this year. I mean, I know my reading's like declined because I've been working on writing, but the books I have been reading, I've been reading more of what I actually want to read, rather than like thinking what I have to read. I'm trying to figure out my brain. Since going on T, it's like the autism ADHD has gone to the like balance to the other side. Now my ADHD is more of a pain in the ass. I've heard other trans people say the same thing. It hasn't cured anything, it's just like the symptoms change. So I went from driving myself nuts with TBRs and sticking to them rigidly like a nut, making myself miserable, to now I've gone the other direction and I'm reading way too many books at once, and I'm trying to pare that down, but so far I'm working on it. I'm still working on it. But I want to actually, pare that down, so I'm not reading double-digit books at the same time. But also just continue reading whatever the fuck I want to read, regardless of what people think about it, because people judge you for like literally every damn genre for one reason or another. It's ridiculous. And what I love to read is nonfiction, horror, mostly, but also like fantasy, and I read a little bit of everything, but I do have like, I dabble in other things, but like those are my main genres. Nonfiction, horror, fantasy. I also enjoy like science fiction sometimes, but I don't read a lot of that. And everything else, it's like here and there, but you get what I'm saying. Basically, whatever calls to my heart. I want to start actually self-publishing, which I mentioned. So number 2, what was the best dollar you spent on writing this last year? I guess books. I did get publisher Rocket for next year, like because it was like going up in price. I saw, and I got it on sale. I was like, well, I'm probably going to be using this next year eventually. So hopefully, but I haven't actually managed to get to that point yet. But I have also gotten some writing craft books that I'm in the middle of reading, and as well as other books, that have inspired my writing. So I am working on saving some money. I haven't got a lot at the moment, but I'm working on saving some money for writing related things, because I know I'm going to need to buy ISBNs and all that other stuff. Covers, editors, etc. Whatever I do. Number 3, where did I spend my time wisely last year? 1, when I actually wrote. Or read or watched, like writing help advice. I watch a lot of BookFox's videos. I'm subscribed to them, but I'm also subscribed to many other people. And so I was watching a lot of writing advice videos this past year too. So there's also that, as well as reading about writing. But if you only do that and never actually write, you're never going to get anywhere. So I also need to start writing more. So in 2025, I want to watch less YouTube, maybe, unless it's like stuff where I'm learning. But at the same time, with the writing, I just need to actually write more, watch less, read more. So yeah, read and write more, but also, I don't know if this was a goal or part of the, I was writing the whole writing shit down during the video. But of course my journal is not in grammatical order, or, you know what I'm saying. I also want to spend, for next year, how did I spend my time wisely last year, so how would I want to spend my time next year? I want to spend less time online. I'm still going to be online, but mostly YouTube and Substack is what I want to focus on, and my reading and writing, that's what I want to focus on next year, and as well as just having fun and being myself. 4, how did you develop friendships with other writers this year? I tried the Power Hour. I forgot to look up his YouTube. There it is. I paused and found it. Michael Laron at Author Level Up. I'll leave his YouTube in the description below as well. I tried writing Power Hour in what month was that? I don't remember what month that was. But I'm in the Discord, which most of my Discords have muted notifications, so I haven't been in there a while. But how did I develop friendships with other writers this year? I tried the Power Hour and such in that Discord. I'm going to try more next year to put myself out there, as well as for I'm just going to try to put myself out there more, feedback, etc. Because friendships, I have friends, and I want friends and connections, but it's hard. So I'm going to continue working on that. 5, what did I do last year that I need to stop? 1, I need to stop being scared to put myself out there. That's the main thing. I need to stop worrying so much. And I need to stop falling asleep. But that's another thing. Number 6, what was the best advice about writing that I received this year? My short-term and working memory are absolute shit. So I actually went through quotes that I have saved. So, write the story that's in your heart and not the one you think will pay the most money. As well as, you are a writer whether you write every day or once a year. Remember that. It's the passion, the love of creation. Do it your own way, and don't let anyone shame you with their rules. And stay faithful to the stories in your head. I've written a lot of quotes. Because she said, when you're scared, but you still do it anyway, that's brave. That was from Coraline. I don't know if I watched that this year. I've only watched it once. It might have been this year, last year. I don't remember. It was not this year. But I have seen Coraline, and I've read Coraline. I actually read it before I watched it, because I never saw it as a kid. But this was years ago, and that quote has just stuck with me. Because she said, when you're scared, but you still do it anyway, that's brave. Any writer worth his salt writes to please himself. It's a self-exploratory operation that is endless. That was Harper Lee. I didn't write all the quotes down. Oops. About who they were from. Because it's my journal. To gain your own voice, you have to forget about having it heard. Don't think about making art. Just get it done. Let everyone else decide if it's good or bad. Whether they love it or hate it. While they are deciding, make even more art. And that was Andy Warhol. I don't know who that is, but I actually wrote that down. The scariest moment is always just before you start, which is Stephen King writing a memoir. A writer's life and work are not a gift to mankind, they are its necessity, which was Toni Morrison. My apologies for the ones I did not write down. A non-writing writer is a monster courting insanity, Franz Kafka, who I've not read. Your intuition knows what to write, so get out of the way, which is Ray Bradbury. I can't believe I just struggled to read my own handwriting. You can't edit a blank page, which is a very common one, but I also freaking love that one. If there's a book that you want to read, but it hasn't been written yet, then you must write it. Also Toni Morrison, at least that's what the quote said. If I got any of that wrong, please let me know. As well as if you know the quotes that I didn't say. So on to number 7. What was my biggest writing success? Writing over 50k in my novel so far. That's still quite a bit for a year. As well as whatever the hell the other short stories count. As well as sharing the stories that I mentioned. And of course, next year I've already said. So, number 8, what was my biggest writing failure this past year? I've been too afraid to show people my work until I just throw it the fuck out there. I mean, I do edit it, but been afraid to throw it out there, been afraid to show it to people, especially my friends in particular, which is probably ass backwards. I'm still scared either way, but I'm actually less scared to share stuff with strangers than my friends. I probably need to fix that. Instead, I just throw shit out there and never tell them. Oops. And I stopped interacting with the writers' groups. Oops. Number 9. What was my most pleasurable reading experience this year? I was not counting any of the nonfiction because it didn't seem right, and I did not count Frankenstein, which I've now read 9 times. So not counting any of that. Jamaica Inn by Daphne du Maurier. Freaking loved that. I read Rebecca years ago and loved it. The Traveling Cat Chronicles. I forget the author's name for that. So I really loved those stories. There's also some like short horror stories of sock puppets. There was like a trilogy of them. That was also fun and weird. So number 10, what was my worst reading experience this year? Ooh. Even though I gave this one 3 stars, I really should have given it 2. This is going to give me so much hate. Like, I liked part of it. I wouldn't even say that I hated it. But I gave to the fact I kind of hate it. The reading experience. I like parts of it, like the story. House of Leaves. I found that book so ridiculously pretentious, absolutely pointless, the way it's all set up. Like, all it does is give you a headache for no reason. In my eyes, it's just pretentious for no reason. Like, the actual story, if it was formatted like a normal story, one of the stories in there was the house. It was very interesting. That's why I finished reading it. I thought maybe it would all click at the end or something. It's like, no, all this other junk seems to be a marketing tactic and pretentious. I'm sorry, because that alone is probably going to get me hate from the House of Leaves community. So, yeah. Like I said, I liked part of it. I wouldn't even say I hated it. I hate the way it is. You know what I'm saying at this point. As well as A Story of the Eye, which is a classic, apparently. That I actually hated. Why? Because to me it just seemed overly shock gross for no reason whatsoever. I don't understand anything in that book. But I'm a person where if something is taboo and gross and like a fictional story, I'm gonna want to read it. And sometimes this is what happens. I found absolutely no reason for any of it in Story of the Eye. So 11, when did I have the most fun as a writer this year? I've actually done a lot of daydreaming about my novel and other ideas. But, of course, you need to daydream generally about your stories. But then you have to actually write them. But I've been having a lot of fun daydreaming about my novel and other story ideas that I haven't even started yet. As well as writing the short stories in the poem. What did I learn about myself as a writer this year? That I need to embrace the chaos with a little structure. But mostly I need to embrace the chaos. That I can do it, that I can finish things and share them, and actually receive positive feedback. I don't have to be so freaking terrified. But also I know I can handle it now. That I can do this, and that sometimes, this is weird because I've always said I can't listen or write while listening to music, which is still usually true, except sometimes when I get so deep in the flow, I finally realized I can actually listen to music and write a little bit. It's just started like barely. So I don't know if there's going to be more to that or if it's just going to be a little thing here and there that's weird. Who knows? but I would always like listen to white noise before, like rain or insects, ocean waves, stuff like that. So when I can't listen to music, that's what I do. To write to block out the real life. Next year, I guess I want to work on actually focusing more because I have trouble focusing. And I should probably get up every so often, once in a while. Like, I'm disabled, I can't do a lot, but also at the same time it's important to do what little I can. And I really should get up every once in a while, which would probably help. 13 on a scale of 1 to 10. How satisfied am I with my writing this year? While thinking about what I did, I wrote I started it in December of last year. So I wrote about 50-ish K in my project Mabon. I put myself and my stories out there to some degree, including the 2 short stories and the poem that I mentioned, and shared them in multiple places. Link trees in my description. Substack, AO3, Wattpad, it's all there. And, yeah. So I gave it like 6.5, 7, because I feel like I could have done better and more, but at the same time, I probably couldn't have, because, life, and I've been learning and growing in other ways, so, but, like, 6.5, 7, I think it's on the good side, but it's not a 10. Did I accomplish my writing goals this year? Yes and no, actually. Because first I was like, well, no. I had a goal to finish my story, and I have not done that, though I'm still working on it. But then I realized I didn't actually do that, but really it was like, I have published for free on the sites I mentioned, and some short stories, and put myself out there, so it's not like I haven't done it at all. I just didn't quite do it the way I meant to do it, but I'm still working on that, so, ish. So yeah, that is, like I said, I will leave BookFox's video in the description, so you can, if you haven't already watched that first, you can watch that where it talks about the questions more, and some of this might make more sense, because I was writing stuff down, and so that was my reflection on this past writing year. Of course, it's late November, so we still have a month to go. But I'm also pretty sure I'm not going to finish my novel by the end of the year. But next year. Because there's probably many writers that keep saying that over and over and over again. I will not be one of them. That is me trying to manifest not being one of them, or whatever. But like, I am actually getting super excited and friggin' ambitious and joyful lately. And if you're not into astrology, you may think I'm a loony, but I am saying it's because I'm a sun sign Aquarius, and so is my Venus. And Pluto is now in Aquarius, and I am freaking thriving, so I'm prepared for 2025 to be a hell of a year for me. People have been fear-mongering about everything, including Pluto and Aquarius lately. If anything was a pain in the ass, it was Pluto and Capricorn. And I could say that with 4 planets in Capricorn. It's actually the sign that I have the most of in my chart. Pluto and Capricorn can kiss my ass. But anyway, that is the end of the writing reflection. I'm excited for this next year, frankly, because I think I'm going to get some shit done. We'll see what happens. How's your writing year been? If you're a writer, and if you're a reader, how's your reading year been? Or both, because generally if you're a writer, you're also a reader. But, like I said, my link tree's in the description. Like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the bell if you want to. Thank you for watching, and have a nice day.